What is going on, my crazy 76er fanatics? Guys, thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76ers discourse and discussion. The likers, the watchers, the commenters, but especially the subscribers. Thank you guys so much for helping this channel continue to grow, the conversation continue to flow, and keeping the Sixer discourse on the up and up, guys. And the Sixers just beat the Houston Rockets in an overtime game that should never have gone to OT. Bad refereeing, bad officiating. We'll leave that for someone else to talk about. Ooh, got the mic. Guys, how well did Joel play? This may be the best game Joel has played in like the last year and a half. Not only did he have a triple-double, not only did he have 15 rebounds, and if you ask me, I think he's jumping a little higher on these rebounds. I think he's giving a little more on the glass. Guys, he played 45 minutes. Joel Embiid played more minutes than Tyrese Maxey, which clearly is a problem, clearly is an issue of coaching, but they needed him. We needed him. There was no way the Sixers were going to win this game without Joel playing well and producing 30-plus points. But Joel played 45 minutes against the Houston Rockets. And this is all green beans. We can smile about it as long as he doesn't get injured anytime soon. Because if he does get injured anytime soon, we're going to have to point to Nick Nurse, the coaching staff, and the irreprimandable use of Joel Embiid's minutes against those Houston Rockets in regular season. 45 minutes is gosh darn way too much time for Joel if his body can't handle it. Joel did say in the post-game press conference that in the fourth quarter, he started to feel those minutes a little bit. He started to feel those minutes, and he started to weigh them down and wear them down. One thing that you can't stop Joel, though, is from trolling, baby. Joel Embiid probably played as hard as he did and as well as he did because he was more motivated than before. Former Sixer Furkan Korkmaz, Forky as we used to call him, says the best centers he's played with in the Olympics. He said this quote right here about the best centers he played with, noting that his entire NBA career was playing with Joel Embiid. Furkan Korkmaz said this during the Olympics. He says, until now, I thought Joel Embiid was the best player, best center I was playing with. But I think we can tell it's Alperen Şengün now. Joel Embiid not only bust Alperen Şengün's, you know what, on that court, putting up 32 to Alperen's 13, but he also took to Instagram to troll just a little more. And it's that right there to let you know that Joel Embiid is feeling more like himself. Joel, he's doing well when he's joking, when he's laughing, when he's smiling, and when he's dominating. So how well did Joel Embiid play, guys? Again, I think this is the best game you've seen from Joel in at least like a year and a half. The triple-double says it all, but the fourth quarter performance, the minutes, really shows how dedicated, how driven, how focused, and how dominant Joel Embiid was last night. They could not stop him. In the first half, Joel Embiid was the hero. In the fourth quarter, you need a hero. You got to call Mr. MVP Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese also had a phenomenal performance in the fourth quarter and overtime, putting up 17 points in those two stints, fourth quarter and overtime. Tyrese put 11 points up in the fourth and about a few more points up in overtime. These two guys are the engines, are the focal points, and are the bus drivers to this caboose being the Philadelphia 76ers. If there's no Joel, if there's no Tyrese, there's no way these guys are getting out of the East or even to the second round. So loving what we're seeing from Joel. Gotta appreciate and admire the effort, the hustle, the energy you're seeing from Tyrese Maxey as well. But guys, this right here is letting you know he's an all-star. Triple-double from Joel Embiid. Not only did he get a triple-double, he dominated his matchup. He silenced the crowd. The critics, which were Furkan Korkmaz, hush him up, quiet them down. Joel Embiid, guys, is feeling more like himself. He's playing similar to the way he was prior to the injuries. You're not going to get that dominance from Joel back, but the fact that he's still got the juice left in the tank makes you think that this year should be the only year we talk about going all in. You can't wait till next season. There is no next season. This is the year you go all in. And at that trade deadline, you're going to have to find some pieces that work well with this team. Because who else impacted the game? We can talk about Joel. We can talk about Tyrese. We're going to talk about them all season long. But to be a championship squad, you need more than just two. Who else impacted the game? Guys, Kelly Oubre is having a career year. He's been playing basketball at career high performances on so many areas of play. 3-point shooting, Kelly is lighting it out, lighting it up. Attacking the glass, Kelly's rebounding a little bit better. Attacking the paint, Kelly is forceful, putting his head down and driving to the cup. Kelly knows his role. Kelly knows what we need him to do, and he understands where Joel Embiid is at physically. And he understands where Tyrese is at with his skill set. And for this team to succeed, you do need someone attacking the glass consistently, putting pressure on the rim consistently. And Kelly Oubre has put his hard hat on and said, I got that. I'll do that. And he's also knocking the three ball down extremely well, guys. Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, these guys scored 90 plus points together. These three guys scored 90 plus points together. The unfortunate part about this, guys, is Paul George just isn't playing the way you want Paul George to play. But Kelly, if you throw Kelly Oubre into that starting lineup, Nick Nurse loves it. Nick Nurse is a huge fan of that. I think that's certainly a pretty potent offensive group, right? And Kelly kind of fits in with the shooting of PG and Tyrese, right? VJ is kind of the hybrid. He'll cut and shoot. But Kelly's kind of, Kelly does too. He'll shoot, obviously. But he's a really good cutter, especially him and Joel. Nick Nurse continued saying, so it's a pretty potent offensive group. And I think if KO and PG are going to give that effort on defense, I think VJ and Tyrese always give a pretty good effort on defense. Then now we got a group that's playing good on both ends. And he's right about that. If Kelly Oubre and Paul George are dedicated to the defensive end, to getting stops and giving their all, then you've got a pretty good group on both ends, because VJ's ain't no slouch on defense. He takes it personal on that side of the ball. Tyrese has turned into a two-way player. Joel Embiid doesn't really have the two-way ability that he used to, but Joel's able to get you 30 on the offensive end. So we're going to take some of his shortcomings on the defensive end and hope his teammates can help him out and cover his back. Because if Paul George, if Kelly Oubre, like Nick Nurse says, are going to give it their all on the defensive end, then you've got a pretty good group offensively and defensively. Paul George speaking on it. Paul George is buying into the defensive end, guys. Paul George speaking on how he's playing his role for this team. Listen, play opened up for me, and defensively, I pride myself to be the best defender for this group. Obviously, we have a wide range of great defenders on this team, but I just take pride on that end. Again, like I said, I think I can win every possession defensively. At least that's how I try to go play defensively, is to affect and get a stop every time. I'm on that side. Offensively, the ball will find me for some open looks, but you hear Paul George saying that defense is where he'll make his bread and butter, and defense is where he's going to earn his coin. That's just not what we need. We can be upfront about it, guys. That's just not what you need from Paul George. And this is a complete 180, a complete flip from Podcast Pete, who went on his podcast, and I couldn't find the guest, guys, but he did say on his podcast that there are some guys that you can't do anything with. You're going to give your best effort. You're going to try your best, but they're just going to make a shot. There's just too many skilled players in this NBA to really think that your defense is going to be able to get a stop on each possession. So this is what I call good PR from Paul. This is PR Paul, where he's saying the right things. He's saying the things that fans, coaching staff, media members, that they want to hear. My offense isn't doing great right now, so instead of talking about my shortcomings, I'll talk about what I'm doing well. I'm playing great defense. I'm giving it my all on the defensive end, and I'm getting all these stops on the defensive end. You guys watching that? That's what Paul George is trying to do, trying to keep bad media, bad publicity off of his back, guys. But realistically, This is not what you signed. This is not what you paid for, and this is not what you want to see from PG, a $54-55 million contract. Not at all, actually. He had 10 points in this matchup, guys. He had 4 points going into the fourth quarter, and mind you, he had 2 points going into the fourth quarter before a third quarter buzzer beater. So 4 points, 2 points. He had no points, if you ask me. A $55 million contract player in one of the biggest games, a playoff caliber game, the referees and the physicality, the speed, the force, the attention to detail. This felt like a playoff game, and it's a doggone shame that Paul George didn't show up on the offensive end. Defensively, he was there. He had 3 steals. He had 1 block. He was trying to protect the rim. He had some really good fouls on Alperen Sengun. The fouls he had on Alperen Sengun just let him know you're not going to get anything easy. You're going to have to earn it. And that stuff does make an offensive player second guess which shots they want to take, how quickly they'll slide to the basket. Unless you're an offensive player that loves physicality, and Alperen Sengun is not one of those players that loves physicality unless he's getting to the free throw line. You could hinder some of his offensive ability with Paul George's defensive tenacity. So you can appreciate him for that, guys. But realistically, you got to trade for somebody. If Kelly Oubre is going to play at a career clip and produce at, $8 million a year, and VJ Edgecombe's going to produce at $11 million a year, you don't need a $55 million Paul George doing the same thing these fellas are doing at, 4 times the cost with half of the production. You just don't need it. You don't need it at all. Paul George also isn't even suiting up on the games that Joel Embiid doesn't play. So instead of Paul George being there each and every night prepared to win and prepared to fight, you're load managing Paul George. You're taking precautions with his injuries, with his health. It's just not what you pay $55 million for. It's time to make a trade. It's time to help this team get paid. And it's time to cook up something that this team needs. $55 million gives you a chance to do the gosh darn dance, guys. To get yourself a star. Somebody who can fill the role and play what this team needs to play. That's big basketball, that's taller basketball, and that's rebounding basketball. Because, again, Paul George only had 2 rebounds going into the fourth. And then when the world needed him most, he showed up on the defensive end, on the rebounding end. He grabbed 4 rebounds in the in overtime and in the fourth quarter. So we appreciate that from Paul. But who should this team trade for? A star. A star. A fringe all-star or a realistic all-star nominee. And if you're not calling the Utah Jazz to get Lauri Markkanen off of that team and in Philadelphia, guys, you're just not making the right phone calls. Lauri Markkanen is a fringe all-star. Lauri Markkanen should be an all-star. The problem with Lauri right now is that he's been sitting because I think the Utah Jazz are trying to trade him. Injury prevention, trade stock, trade market, also prevention as well. Lauri Markkanen has been sitting for way too many games. And if we're talking about an all-star caliber player, Lauri Markkanen is who we're talking to and talking about. Lauri's a star in the making. Lauri should be a star for the taking, and he'd be a perfect role fit for Paul George. Lauri's a better catch-and-shoot player. Lauri's used to getting those opportunities, and Lauri post-up play is better than PG's. Now, defensively, he may not be able to slide his feet laterally and as quickly as Paul George is able to, but he should be able to rebound better. He should be able to guard some of those bigger and taller matchups better. And hopefully Lauri and Joel Embiid don't get in each other's way on the defensive end, because I'm not sure if there's any glass protection when both of those guys are out there. But I do know that the rim protection would be better than PG and Joel. So that's where we're at with this, guys. And I would like to see you guys like, comment, subscribe, and tell me who you want to see traded for. Because it's about time you trade for Lauri. I've seen enough. It's enough of the PG play. It's enough of all that. Let's get a trade going. Let's start cooking up in those comments what trade needs to be made. Like, comment, and subscribe. We got you back with more pod.